Hi, I'm Margaret Miller Guide, and today I'm here with Anterior Pelvic Tilt, Part 2, How to Fix It. And in Part 1, if you didn't get to view it or you need to review it, I explain what an anterior pelvic tilt is and what muscles are typically seen as tight and which ones are weak. In How to Fix It, we're going to address those muscles. So we're going to look at stretching our Quadratus lumborum, our hip flexors and our quadriceps, and then we follow up the stretching with strengthening muscles that are allowing your body to tilt forward, and those muscles would be your hamstrings and your abdominals. So by strengthening those, because if they're weak, we're going to tilt forward, and when they're strong, it helps us hold a nice neutral pelvis. So let's get started. This hip flexor stretch is a nice alternative to the kneeling hip flexor stretch. You'll want to either have stairs in front of you or something that's between the height of your knee and your hip. I'm going to use the arm of a chair, and by placing one foot up on the arm of the chair, all of a sudden what I've done is opened up the space for my opposite hip flexor here. We know that if we contract a muscle, so I'm going to contract my glute muscle, if we contract a muscle, it invites relaxation of the antagonistic or opposite muscle. So that's going to further open up by allowing that muscle, the hip flexor, to relax. The hip flexor, we have two heads of that muscle: psoas, which comes off of the front of the spine, iliacus, which is coming off of the ilium, the pelvic bone, and the two joined together to insert just about where my fingers are here. Now if I'm doing this stretch and I'm coming forward and I'm going, I'd like a little bit more opening. What I could do, is to draw my shoulders back relative to my pelvis, so pelvis goes forward. And then the next thing is to open up further by elongating through the upper body. When you're doing a muscle stretch, holding that stretch for 30 seconds as a static stretch is great. If you were doing this as a dynamic stretch, you could come forward, 1, 2, and release. And each time you come forward, with or without your arm, you would think of squeezing your butt cheek, and then release. Exhaling through the stretch, inhaling as you release. So whether you choose to do a dynamic stretch, where you're holding 1 to 2 seconds for 10 to 20 repetitions, or you're holding for a nice static stretch, it's a great way to add flexibility to your hip flexors. Just remember to do both sides. So standing quadricep stretch is a really nice alternative to the side lying or the stomach lying quadricep stretch. We can use any type of surface that's between the height of your knee and your hip, depending on your flexibility, so you get to fine-tune this. You're going to have your back to the surface you've chosen, and you might choose to have something for a little stability when you're getting into position. So I'm going to be back to this chair. I'm going to use the arm of the chair for support, and I've just used my foam roller here if I need any extra support for balance. Now I'm placing my foot, and this is not unusual when people lift into that position that their hamstrings cramp up a little bit. It's not an exercise for the hamstring. This muscle just works when you're getting into position. And then when you're here, you can allow the leg to relax. The stretch is for the quadricep, which attaches from the front of your pelvis down and below your knee. So allowing that knee to bend back like that is a lovely way to stretch the quadricep. If I'm wanting to further deepen this stretch, I could bring myself a few inches away so that I'm getting a little bit more opening, especially through the upper part. And if I draw my pelvis forward and I tighten my abdominals, then the location where the muscle starts from here pulls away from the knee. So the more I can tuck up, the better the stretch I'm going to get. So engaging my abdominals And then if I'm looking to get a little bit deeper stretch, so again, your stretch should always feel like a really comfortable, delicious stretch. So there should not be pain or discomfort, especially in the knee or anywhere else. And I could always bend the supporting leg to open this up a little bit more. So these are all precursors to being able to do your quadricep stretch in standing in this position. So if you're already able to do it in this position with your hand at your foot and your foot towards your buttocks, then what I demonstrated is going to be too gentle for you. And you can go right into doing it in this format. And that's your quadricep stretch. When stretching your quadratus lumborum, the most effective way I've found that allows you to stretch it both on a muscular level and a fascial level is in side lying. So I'm going to use my treatment table. Obviously, most of you don't have one. So what I found works really well for my clients is they can use a firm bed or a sofa. So what you're wanting is to have your pelvis on the edge. The side that you're stretching is the upper side, and the pelvis is near the edge. So that you feel secure, you want to have your shoulders slightly inward, so that way your body will be slightly on a diagonal. You need 3 supports. You need a pillow that's going to support your waist and rib cage. You need a pillow for your head, and you can use what I've used as a bolster. You can use the armrest if you're using your sofa to do it on. Otherwise, another support if you want to open up the stretch further. So I'm going to go right into demonstrating the stretch. I'm going to go down into side lying. I'm going to start with my uppermost leg on the table. The first pillow is right underneath my rib cage, and I could bunch it up so that my shoulder is actually on the bed or sofa. So the shoulder itself is not on the cushion. So the cushion is opening up my rib cage, knowing that the muscle is attached from the ribs to the pelvis and the spine. So we're looking to open up this space here. Pillows supporting your head and neck. And then the third pillow, or propped or armrest, is there in case you need it. We're going to start, and just for some people, just lying in this position, you'll start to feel this opening. If you don't feel an opening, I'm going to place my foot so that it's going to support my knee and allow my knee to go off the edge of the bed or sofa. Depending how flexible you are, you might let it hang all the way, at which point the bed or sofa itself is supporting your knee. Now you're going to start to feel the pelvis being pulled from your rib cage. Great. But if you still don't feel a big opening here, that's where the arm comes in. So now we're drawing the ribs away from the pelvis. Putting as much support as you need so that you have your shoulder in a very comfortable position. You do not want your shoulder to feel compressed in any way. And then allowing your body to rotate ever so slightly to feel that opening in the space between your pelvis and your rib cage. If you're holding this just for a muscular stretch, that's about a 30-second hold. But if you want to go into a deeper fascial stretch, you would stay here for several minutes. Through that time, you would just ever so slowly elongate your body as the fascia releases. Either way, come slowly back into position and use your supporting arm, top arm, to push yourself back up. And that is the Quadratus lumborum stretch. So with this next exercise, to strengthen your hamstrings, all you need is a chair. You can use a bench, you can use even your sofa. So something that's about 17, 18 inches off the ground works really nicely. A little padding is a bonus. Come down through your side, roll onto your back. You're going to place your calves onto the surface. So when you're first beginning, having your calves on the surface is a nice way to start. As you get stronger, you can have your body move away and just have your heels on the surface. Your arms are going to be out like a tripod I invite you to bring your thumbs to the ground, really tuck your shoulder blades underneath you, because as you lift your hips, you're going to want that weight transferred through your shoulder blades. The next thing to think about before we begin is the positioning of your legs. Precisely that your knees and your feet are hip width apart and pointing to the sky. I often see people do this exercise and they'll start to roll out, and so they're not taking advantage in its fullness of the exercise to also work on your deep hip rotators. Take your breath in and exhale. As you start to lift your body, you're squeezing your buttocks, but most of the muscle work is coming from your hamstrings that like to extend your hips and bend your knees. So you notice that the knees are staying bent the entire time. One way that people will cheat in this exercise is they'll straighten their knees, and in straightening your knees, you're making it easier on the hamstring. So try not to do that. And once again, keeping knees and toes to the sky, shoulder blades tucked as you lift. So gradually building so that you're doing a set of 10 to 12 repetitions, and with time you can add to your sets, always allowing time between sets, and as I mentioned earlier, gradually progressing so that you're not just having calves but also just heels on. A further progression would be doing this on an unstable surface like a ball. So we know that planks and side planks are a great way of strengthening your abdominals, but for some people they're very difficult on the shoulders. And so an alternative is to do some leg drops, and I'm going to walk you through them. So coming down on your side, roll onto your back. Very important when doing your abdominal work from the ground is to be aware of your little arch here in the small of your back, your lumbar lordosis. So you don't want to flatten your back, and you don't want, when you're exercising, to be pulled forward. So the entire goal is, however you're moving your legs, that you're keeping your little neutral spine exactly neutral. It's the strength of your abdominals to overcome the weight of your legs that works your abdominals without stressing your back. So I'm going to move this arm away. You should be able to see this little space right in here. Almost like I could get a little toy car under that tunnel. Now, one way to start is just even dropping one leg at a time and seeing, can you control that space where it's not actually moving at all? You check both sides, because sometimes when we've had back pain or any injuries, one side might be harder to do than the other. Now, once you've mastered just lifting and lowering one leg, you can invite one leg to stay up through the process as you bring the other leg up. Now, this is going to require more effort. You can fine-tune it with the position of the leg that stays behind. So, as I lower the leg, the weight of my leg is demanding my hip flexors. My hip flexors are trying to pull my spine up off the ground, but my abdominals, their job is to keep my spine exactly where we started from. If I went to the other side and I found, oh, that's much harder, then I don't have to move it to the same range as I did the other side, but gradually it will build strength. So respect that we all have asymmetries within our body, and respect your asymmetry. I often see people do double leg drops, and then they come to see me because they have back pain. Now, double leg drops, even for me, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of work, and I'm feeling a lot of pulling on my spine. So these are bicycles. Bicycles are a little bit kinder, but these double leg drops are very hard. And so I really encourage you rather to really fine tune. You can have one leg going down when the other one's you're fine tuning, so that you're knowing the whole time that you're respecting that small arch in your back and not putting any strain on your low back while gaining the strength of your abdominals. So when you get a buy-in in all body parts and you know that you're in control without hurting anything, that's a great abdominal exercise. So if you enjoyed today's episode, then please subscribe if you haven't already. If you don't want to miss any future videos, then just click on notifications. If you want to find out more about my books, my videos, and my courses, then you can look in the description box below. I'm Margaret. Thanks for joining me. I wish you a lovely day.